Welcome to Thinking Deeply About Primary Education, the podcast that makes time and space to think about pedagogy, teaching and learning, professional development, anything of interest to time-poor but enthusiasm-rich primary teachers. In this episode, we're going to go back into the archives to find an answer to a question from an inspirational teacher. And for those of you who are hearing it for the first time, hopefully this points you towards an episode that you may want to listen to now. As you're listening, I think it would be fantastic to think about how you might respond to this question. And why not share it in the comments wherever you're listening, whether that be YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts from. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I hope it provides useful food for thought for your professional development this year. Without further ado, let's spend some time thinking deeply about primary education. I suppose that ties into my next question. And we're thinking about sort of instigating change on a school-wide level. What does that almost mean to you, and what does that look like to you? I suppose we could tie that in with the previous question. When you think of school-wide change, and obviously in your new role as deputy head teacher, it's going to be an important part of your day-to-day sort of working life for the foreseeable. So what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's a swift learning curve for me. I've obviously been in leadership for several years, and I have been part of school improvement, but not in this way before. Like where I really am now in the driving seat for change. We're an RI school, so we've got a lot to do. We're in a good position, but we've got a lot to do. We've got a fantastic team there as well. And I guess that team has been put together by my head, who has really assembled some excellent people there, made some great choices, put some great people in great positions who, have built a strong level of communication there, which is something that I've not been really like that deep, strong lines of communication where things have systematically, there's rigor there. That's massive. I've not really experienced that before, and to have it's like, whoa, this is quite special. So, but I would say the things that, for my very limited experience at the moment of proper school improvement, I would say trust and relationships is absolutely essential. Before anything happens with anything, there has to be a trust. There has to be a professional trust there. And a building of those relationships, because that allows rigor to flourish, and for me, and it's the bedrock for it, and so you must build those carefully, and you must build them in a way which, and this is something I've been learning, and again, I'll quote Matt Swain here, because this piece of advice he gave me, Matt over at the Step Academy Trust. He said that you got to support some stuff that you're not on board with in the interim period, because you have to, because you're not you chase all the rabbits and all that. You've got to go with it, and you've got to support it, because ultimately there's a value, there's a worth in that, because it will fundamentally, you will bring about long-term change by doing that. And it's something that I've wrestled with, and I thought, yeah, do you know what? That is absolutely spot on, because and you're sitting there through gritted teeth at times, and talking about, I'm thinking I could chuck all the cog sidebooks at you, and go, no, damn you, that's wrong, But there would be no value in doing it, because all that would do would be to crush that sort of that trust and that relationship that I just spoke of. It would crush it. And then you're building on sand a bit, and fundamentally, I guess I'm speaking from a position where, although we're RI, Lucy, my head, has done tremendous amounts of work already to set leadership, right? So perhaps, I'm speaking for a certain context. And it's the same with anyone when you're speaking about anything, isn't it? It's all context specific. But my context is there's enough stability there to pick up on what what Matt said there, and to really build those relationships so that you can push things forward. So I would say to develop the right culture, you win the trust, then you go from there. I think, guys, it's huge.
Yeah, I can totally relate to that because was it in Learning to Improve? They say implement fast, learn slow, and then burn goodwill as you go.
Love
Um,
it.
and you need as many people as you can coming with you on the journey because that makes life so much easier. And if you incrementally, and you start with the foundations and then build and build, I think it's much more conducive to long
Yeah.
term systemic change. And really, I think how we should all be approaching sort of leadership in general, because I don't know, it could just be my impression, but the system of accountability doesn't necessarily support, the fact that it takes maybe 5 to 10 years to really make a lasting impact. And really, it's that there's some very brave heads who say, no, we're going to do it and we're going to do it properly, and then they reap the rewards. A
Absolutely.
couple of years down the line. Yes, 100%. Um,
Mm.
and you're using walkthroughs. That's right, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's right.
Tell us about that because I've read the book. Really interested to know what it's like in practice because it reads fantastically well and it makes things
Yeah.
really really clear. So what's that like in school?
Yeah, it's a very very good package, a suite of principles. I would say really to good teaching, and what what it does is it allows you to have again a common language that sits outside of the teaching standards that actually it is all the things that you kind of wish you'd been taught when you were being. I wish I'd been taught in my initial teacher training. Like all those things where they've really captured the essence of good teaching, context free, and that's the kicker. It's the context free bit that is fantastic because it's applicable then to any organisation, and you mould it and you shape it and you work it, and just having that. Ability to do that is fantastic, and I guess I'm fortunate in that I've got a good network of people that I speak to and work with both in and out of school, and I do a lot of professional reading in my spare time as well. So I'm able to supplement it and really take it and make it context specific for Staplehurst, and what it's done is allowed me, like I say, a very smooth and kind of structured way of conveying some of the really core principles that actually quite few of them hadn't reached Staplehurst, and so it's a fantastic tool for upskilling your staff and being able to really promote those core principles of instruction and understanding and teach good teaching really. So like we've used it in a sense of like we've because it's early and they're early in the development of the subscriber package as well. So it's developing all the time. Ollie and Tom are constantly working at developing forum materials that come up every week and change and added, and people are sharing and collaborating, which is really powerful again. But we've actually started to work it into our performance appraisal as well. So what I'm trying to do is bake it into the very heart of what we do, and it's linked back to our appraisal. So I've taken the work of Chris Moyes and his Growing Great Teachers model and fused our walkthroughs with that process. And we've gone away from the data targets in appraisals completely. It's now about professional pedagogical development and how we can leverage better teachers and therefore better outcomes for children in our school. Really, so that process is like it's a work in process. It's something that we're going to see the first round of appraisal. How it goes after the half term, but I'm excited by it, and I think that I would highly recommend it for school improvement for schools because it genuinely, if we do theme walks, we're trying to develop a very open culture in and out, less no punitive sort of to really foster that culture of developing of improving, not proving, as Chris says, and to go in and be able to go on a theme walk. we ping straight away feedback back to teachers and say, oh, this was great, bang, page whatever of the walkthroughs. We can instantly signpost good practice to the actual thing that it's codified down in this thing. And there's power in that. You go, Joe did a fantastic cold call, signal pause and insist in year 5. It was wonderful. She just bang, classroom. If you want to have a look at that, it's on page. They then can actively pick up and look at that and think, and developing that culture. So that's kind of like we're moving to like a coaching model, and to really try and empower teachers by using this as a driving force in the school. So it's so far extremely impressed with the materials. So
that sounds superb, because you've got empowering teachers, shared culture, shared understanding of what things and what the feedback actually means, and also you're taking away that unnecessary accountability. Which there's no real proof that having data in your appraisal target will actually help anyone learn anything with it anymore.
I know it's never helped me in 10 years of teaching be any better teacher. You know what I mean?
No, that's
it's a powerful set of resources.
Yeah, I think it looks a lot like the future, and hopefully, fingers crossed, because it seems to have its priorities in the right place. And then,
I would say so.
Because I haven't read it. It's very, very high quality. And to be honest, if I'd had it 3 years ago, it would have made my job a whole lot easier back then.